Click the links for Rumble, Odyssey, Bit Chute, subscribe, star. There's or join channel here. There's no way to talk about this without getting graphic, so that's the warning. It's adult prurient interest type of stuff. It's graphic. It's Louis C.K. You're probably remember it, NSFW. You probably remember what he's famous for. He's got the face of a consumer, a Coomer consumer. I mean that's what a Coomer looks like. That's the meme come to life. So cancel Louis C.K. sold out Madison Square Garden, and Rochelle Leishman at the Marysue is outraged at Louis Jerkoff C.K. And I have to agree with her, which might not be the most popular. I mean, I agree with her a little bit, which might not be the most popular take. But so let's look at what happened. The story broke in 2017 of CK bringing women comedians in his hotel room and getting off to them while they watched, which as we're all adults, we look at that and go, that's a little weird. You got these beautiful women coming up to your hotel room. You're both adults, like, that's always going to be on the table. It's like, how do you get laid? Well, first you have to be within physical proximity of each other. And you've already got that, and they're already like, they're on board with that. They're in your hotel room, you're having a drink, and be like, if the chicks are probably thinking, why don't you just use a condom and have sex with me? I'm right here. I want to get off also. It's weird that he goes, no, why don't you just watch me while I do this? Like, the chick is, I mean, most of the chicks are like, I came up to your hotel room and, that was going to be on the table. It's like, you have this thing out in front of me. Why don't you just use it the way it's supposed to be used? And we can both have a good time. But, he's a little bit of a, like the least degenerate thing he could do would simply be having sex with the women or doing something physically with them. It just seems so cold and impersonal to do it in front of them and not. The whole thing is weird, obviously, to not just have sex with the women who were there, half of whom probably would have been totally on board with it. So he did this to a bunch of women, and some of them turns out that they felt pressured because he was a huge comedian, and they were on the way up. And Sarah Silverman used to be on board with it. I read her book. She's wired a little differently herself. She has very serious issues, especially she really hates people of European descent, and she's just got a whole bunch of issues. But I know we kind of automatically want to defend the guy against these women who, they're adult women who have agency, as far as women can have agency. But just because the left has a position doesn't mean it's de facto wrong. You think about the society we have now where this guy it's not, it's not the end of the world. He's not holding people down and cooming on their face or anything. He's just asking them, but there is a little bit of pressure involved. He's way above these chicks were probably openers for his show or somehow involved with something, but he's a known name, and these women, like, you've never heard of it. He's way above them on the ladder, and if he can get them to open for his shows, or he can get them on a TV show, or have them write jokes for him, or be a producer on something, it's a huge deal. Where that's why a lot of these chicks said yes, and they probably would have said yes to more than that. And it probably wouldn't have been a big deal if he had just was having sex with women in hotel rooms, because that's half the reason these people are they're in hotels, and like, assuming they're single at the time and they're consenting adults. It's like, that's they're in comedy. What do you like? Sex and drugs are kind of the they're half the game of any of it. And he didn't force anyone. He's not a Weinstein. But when you stop to think about it, it's kind of degenerate. I mean, I understand that we're in Weimar, but you can still look at this one little thing and say, this guy's a Coomer degenerate. All other things being true, it doesn't make him any less of a Coomer degenerate. And that's not saying to cancel him, because that's up to the shows that want to work with him or whoever books him. And then it's on the audience. If they want to support him, that's ultimately their choice. And I admit that it does feel a little bit like deck chairs on the Titanic, because the rest of America is also falling into the Sodom and Gomorrah hole. But does that mean that we shouldn't at least try to examine some of it and reject it? You're a comedian with less status, and you go up to his room after a show. Obviously, it's not a good idea, but it means making very important contacts, or further developing your contact with him, and somehow, getting hooked up with him in the industry, with him pushing you a little bit or tied in with you. He's a hugely powerful person, any comedian above you, and he's way, way above these other comedians. And if it means you can possibly get something to do with a TV show out of it, well, TV is way better than doing stand-up. That's why a lot of these chicks are going up to these rooms, and I'm sure not all of them were the thing is, you're going up to someone's hotel room at night to have a drink. It's not to say nobody has a right to do anything that you don't want them to do, for sure. And everyone, like adults, totally respect that. It's only in Hollywood where somebody just rips off your clothes and has a struggle snuggle scene. And not only in Hollywood, but that kind of stuff is really, really rare. Like if a woman just said, "Oh, I tell you what, why don't we just?" He says, "Hey, can I do this thing in front of you?" And she just, I gotta go. I'm gonna pass on that. It's like it probably wouldn't have been a big deal, but it's just the fact that he asked, and he's way above them on that ladder. And I'm not saying that these women aren't also grifters. They, for sure. Hollywood's a very dirty place. Not everyone in Hollywood is dirty. I get that. But they didn't have to say yes when he asked him if he could do this thing. And all things can be true. You know what I'm saying? It's a filthy industry, and it's okay to say that. It seems like everybody involved is filthy, where the focus is on CK, but he's still a pervert. Like all these things can be true, and you look at him and go, yeah, he's still a Coomer pervert, and he was the guy in the power position above these women. He was a huge name, and he still is. He lost a lot of shows, and he lost a movie that was just right on the cusp of coming out. So I'm sure the production company was pissed about that. And he's selling out shows now. And it's not a question of cancellation. That's up to the individual. But it strikes me as a little weird that people are so on board with going to Madison Square Garden to watch him. That seems a bit Madison Square Garden, Louis C.K. Yeah, that seemed a bit weird. And I hate to agree with Leishman. And I read a couple of other articles about this. The people who are trying to cancel him or coming out, they're virtue signaling and coming out, and it's like, do they really care? Is it virtue signaling? Well, for the comedians on social media who are trying to speak out against this, they're virtue signaling, but they're just trying to get their name out there, which is like Louis C.K. would probably be the first one to understand, like some club comedian who's trying to what do you call it when you name drop people, like Quartering would do it with Tim Pool, Tim Pool videos, and he would those videos, like he would do those Tim Pool videos, and it would make him thousands of dollars. And you look at this as like, yeah, he knows what he's doing, we know what he's doing, but you can't, it's worth thousands of dollars to him, and it helps him grow his own platform. You do what you have to do. Or it's like, some of the Eliza Blue stuff that people are doing. It's like, does it really merit all this attention? It's like people kind of covered it, and you're still kind of doing it. It's like, does it merit this attention? Or you do a live stream, you're like, I'll do a live stream, I made $1,000 in a live stream. It's like, oh, okay, so you're gonna do you keep, like, that's one of the things with YouTube is, you kind of ride the train until the wheels fall off. And I'm not knocking it. Like, people do that, and there's just so much money involved. Like a lot of channels were doing that with like Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and I'm not being passive aggressive because I didn't do that, but it's like there's so much money involved. You can't really, you can take a channel from like 20,000 subs and go to 100,000 subs. It's like, yeah, but they made $150,000 by covering this kind of stuff, and they blew up your channel. It's like, it all kind of makes sense. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but I guess I'm in agreement. Where's Leishman? There's the picture of Leishman at the end. Oh, because I have it in airplane mode. I got to agree with Leishman a little bit on this, even though, like, everyone else who's in agreement is just a bunch of the comedians who are trying to do the up and cut. They're trying. What do you call that, name dropping? It's shit. I forget what you call it. The Tim Pool, the Quartering. What do you? It's when you're just trying to latch on. It's like fame connections. You're trying to latch on to blow something up. It's like, that's the Twitter comedians who are against this. They come out against things and virtue signal. It's like, shut up, dude. You don't care about Louis C.K. jerking off in front of some consenting women. And like I said, like, those women would have preferred to just have sex with him. Like, how I guarantee you, if you could take those women aside, honestly, she would be like, yeah, I went up there. I was expecting to, we got condoms. It's like, we're both adults. We're in a hotel room. We got a bed. He's a nice, clean guy. It helps that he's tremendously powerful, but like, they're also looking to, all things can be true at once. It's like, you're looking to advance your career, and but she's also looking to come that night. Like, she's like, yes, I'm there. It's after a show. I would like an orgasm, please. Can you provide me with that? Can you use the tools available to you and procure me one orgasm, please? And it's like, no, you're just gonna watch me have an orgasm. If I was a chick, I'd be like, why don't you get me off first, and then afterwards, if you want to, you can finish off that way. But I'm not a chick. Anyway, Sorry for the graphic video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next episode.